Manga recommendations. Love them, need them, but despite my dislike for hot dogs, I'd like to be frank. I've grown sorely sympathetic to those that don't want to catch up to a 400 chapter plus story that is on hiatus. So if you will be so kind, I would like to go station to station and see what is in store for us today. This one would like to extend a gift. Time is time, so here are some you can catch up to now. Yusugoi is not the rec I want to give since I did that already, but the mangaka who took a break in the middle of working on that series to do a boxing match is now doing a boxing manga. Genikasuri is only 16 chapters, and myself needs to be honest. I love boxing. Tommy Hearns, Dimitri Bivol, Jesse Bam Rodriguez, and while Canelo and Terrence Crawford might be bigger names here in the United States, if you've been out of the loop of boxing for the last 10 years, please check out Alexander Usyk. Now when it comes to boxing manga, they are so capable of punching the soul and inspiring. It's a hard type of story to fuck up. In regard to this, it follows a pro boxer that awakens from a 2-year coma, only to be screwed over by the Don Kings of his world. The thing is, it seems he doesn't wish to take his revenge as a boxer, but now as a promoter. The puppet has chosen to become the puppet master. I love manga I can fall into, and this one is so much fun. The main character is easy to get behind. Now, if I stay loyal because he is worth loyalty, will have to be seen. Yusugoi had a main character with a lot of history that was largely completed, so I'm curious if the same will be done again. I think maybe a little bit because we've already established early on that this is a character with a lot of history in regards to the people he's interacting with, but I'm getting ahead of myself. For now, we have sick, memorable characters off the rip, and the artwork is a testament to why manga is so easy for me to love. This was made by a very passionate person. The flow of the punches, the sick standstill shots, and of course the absurd expressions. A little absurdity goes a long way, and I doubt this series will slow down or let me down in the long run. Today's video is sponsored by Apocalypse Scarlet Covenant, a 2D kimono girl card anime RPG packed with stylish combat and some truly incredible character designs. Starting August 24th, the brand new Witch's Den gameplay launches. This mode lets you interact with AI-powered witches, unlock unique storylines, train them, and even boost your entire squad in battle. It's progression, character bonding, and yeah, some very suggestive visuals. Also, beginning August 17th, the 150-day sign-in event goes live, giving you the chance to claim up to 24 SSRs, 6 Ultra Rares, and Witch Prinny completely free just by logging in. And during this time period, you can grab up to a 2,000% rebate from August 17th to September 6th. This rebate event is exclusive to players logging in through the GT Arcade accounts. And of course, this is also when the Witch's Whisper event drops, featuring the arrival of the most powerful new character, Ana, alongside her Oath outfit, Rasparta's Wedding. She's one of the strongest damage dealers in the game, and her design speaks for itself. So if you've been waiting to build your roster, now's the time. So don't wait. Check the pinned comment and description below to download Apocalypse Scarlet Covenant. Dive into the Witch's Den and grab Ana and her outfit while you can. Now, some might think that talking about one's favorite thing for a job is awesome. It is, but what I don't like about it is that I have to lie a little sometimes in order to earn your precious attention. Like the chick in the thumbnail. That is from the lewd and comedically gifted mind of the prison school mangaka, titled SuperBallGirls. I am in awe of how good this man is at ecchi art, and I'm also in awe that this has 40 plus chapters. So this is the lie. I was going to recommend this thing about a man that hates his job and ends up with a harem of hot women that reproduce through kissing, but myself would actually like to take this moment to recognize the tragedy of the prison school author. Venture with me into the land of imagination and picture your best work is your least known. So instead, I am going to ask that if you are going to read any of his works, read Me&TheDevilBlues. Quick intermission from the future. Crazy fucking timing. I recorded, scripted this whole segment, and then it turned out that the series just came back, because it was on hiatus for fucking forever, and it literally just came back. I don't know how the fuck I keep doing it, but anyways, back to the video. Me&TheDevilBlues is about RJ and his misadventures, the blues player that made a deal with the Red Devil. This is based off the very infamous stories behind the real-life Robert Johnson, and how people believed he made a deal with the Devil of the Crossroads, which is how he gained his insane ability to play music. The mangaka's stellar artwork is put to use in a way that feels far more thought-provoking, even though my thoughts are provoked reading his other stuff, but there feels to be a legitimate piece of value to this that I could take away as a story. Although Prison School is hilarious, it is a little tragic that the author is mainly known for haha horny. This one will even accept if you read it after reading SuperBallGirls if you really need to. Sick freak. You owe yourself a good story to read. Great art does not require suffering first, so if you feel like skipping SuperBallGirls and just going straight into Me&TheDevilBlues, trust me, you will not regret it. Fear. You feel it, I feel it, but what if you could sell it? In a whimsical town, a frog moves in and sees all the stores there is, and one that sells fear boxes. Opening them reveals a tale of horror. But something is clearly off with this rabbit, and something more sinister is in the air. If only the title was as serious as the premise. The Creepy&Freaky is a fun read for those that are fond of short horror stories like the Junji Ito works, Shintaro Kaga's works, and PTSD Radio. I'm excited to see how this story develops with this, if it all connects similar to PTSD Radio, or remains open and disjointed. I'm sure they'll all connect since we are already seeing ties between the stories and it's seeping into the real, or well, the cartoon real world. The cartoony presentation could enhance the moments of horror for some, but I can also see it being a distraction and reset of tense buildup. Out of all the horror manga I've read, the presentation of this remains unique. I commend its uniqueness, at least in manga, so I definitely don't view the cartoony style as a mistake. In fact, as the great Bob Ross said, there are no mistakes, just new dance moves. Something like that. Next stop. Great artwork seems to be the recurring attraction. Boichi, known for his manga Sunken Rock and some of his illustrations of Oda's One Piece, the Martial King. The first chapter is pretty far out. Legendary outlaw says his son is coming to kill him, a man with golden arms known as the greatest to ever do it. Time jumps and we see a young man carrying a gargantuan coffin, and when cornered, he uses the cross coffin as a weapon. It only gets more absurd from here, by the way. Now I know what you're thinking. Yes, the main character looks like Ace. Another thing is, this is very nostalgic of manga in the 2000s. Pirate King, Shaman King, even a decade later we have Wizard King, now we have Martial King. Similar to how video games get a remake, a modern paint job, this does feel like a story made in 2004 but illustrated in the 2020s. It can be felt in the humor and tropes. I bring this up as an observation. I can't decide if it's a praise or criticism yet. The pacing was, and is a jump scare though, since anything I thought was going to be a long-term thing gets dealt with in the next chapter. Point being, this could very well remain easy to catch up to when Boichi gets bored of cowboys. Still, I don't want to understate how cool this series is to read so far. By the way, if you are currently enjoying your trip, you can hit the like button and the one that says subscribe. The beast of gluttony is a force that only cares about one thing: eating. And it will not stop until entire nations are destroyed. Summoned by a madman that wishes to see only one thing: the destruction of humanity. But the beast does not care for such silly things. It only cares for its next meal. This manga is titled Your Mother. Sorry, there must have been an error on the note cards. Yattara is a horror comedy manga as this being of doom encounters these kids, which he originally plans to eat after feeding them and taking care of them for a while, but then begins to change the more time he spends with them, taking on a protector role and slowly changing as we begin to learn the origins of this beast. While I was looking forward to some really disturbing horror, seeing this type of being find itself growing and changing is rather wholesome, and I see this being a pretty fun watch in between a bunch of different anime once this does get an adaptation. Well, if it gets an adaptation. Ooh. Remember that artsy bullshit this one said about no mistakes, but new dance moves, quote-unquote happy accidents? What I'm about to admit was a bit of a mistake, the very least unhealthy. I reread Shamo, Pun Pun, and then 3 Days of Happiness back to back to back. Shamo was infuriating again. Pun Pun uncorked the emotional bottle, and I left that story with a far more hopeful aftertaste, thankfully. But 3 Days of Happiness peeled open my chest once again and left a little note. This story is about a man who sells the remaining years of his life in pursuit of happiness, learning to value the time he has and realizing that he indeed wants to live. We often live with the laziness that we are immortal, or with the anxiousness that it will all end tomorrow. Putting yourself in the mind frame of having only 3 months left to live makes you ponder what are the things most important to you, and what are things you regret never doing. It's a tragic story, and more so a tragic romance, and I cannot even begin to really put it into more words. Just read it. What I will say before we move on quickly from this nostalgic spot is I am glad that it seems to mean more to me now than it did when I read it years ago. Well, that seems to have been our final stop. Thank you so much for accompanying me on this quick little trip, and I'll see you on the flip side.